Every day, banks tell you to borrow. Credit cards, car loans, personal loans, buy now, pay later, mortgage offers. The message is everywhere, and it sounds like they're helping you. But what if the financial system makes more money when you borrow than when you save? What if the very habits keeping banks rich are the same habits keeping millions of people broke? Because while most people are working harder for money, the financial system is quietly making money from them. And once you understand how the game works, you'll never look at debt the same way again. Imagine two customers walking into a bank. The first customer has $100,000 in savings. The second customer has $50,000 in debt. Which customer do you think the bank prefers? Most people assume it's the saver. But in reality, the customer with debt is often far more profitable. Why? Because debt creates income. Savings cost money. When you deposit money into a bank account, the bank may pay you a small amount of interest. But when you borrow money from the bank, you pay them interest. And that interest is where the real money is made. Think about a credit card. A person spends $5,000, then carries that balance month after month. The bank charges interest, month after month, year after year. The longer the debt lasts, the more money the bank earns. Now multiply that by millions of people. Suddenly, you understand why banks generate billions in profits every year. Here's the part most people never think about. Banks don't need you to become debt-free. In fact, the perfect customer isn't someone who never borrows, and it isn't someone who pays everything off immediately. The perfect customer is someone who stays in debt, but keeps making payments, because that's recurring income. Imagine owning a machine that sends you money every month. That's what long-term debt looks like from a bank's perspective. And that's why borrowing is marketed everywhere. Pre-approved loans, 0% financing, buy now, pay later, instant approvals, easy monthly payments. The financial system constantly encourages consumption because every dollar borrowed creates future profit, not necessarily for you, but for someone else. Now let's be clear. Debt itself isn't evil. A mortgage can help you buy a home. A business loan can help you start a company. Student loans can help build skills. Debt can be a useful tool. The problem starts when debt becomes a lifestyle, when people borrow to buy things they don't need, things that lose value, things that don't generate income. That's when the system wins, and you fall behind. Here's what wealthy people understand. Poor people often work for money. Rich people make money work for them. Poor people pay interest. Rich people collect interest. Poor people buy liabilities. Rich people buy assets. That's one of the biggest differences between financial stress and financial freedom. Think about the average person. When they receive extra money, they often spend it. New phone, new car, bigger house, more subscriptions, more expenses. The wealthy often do the opposite. They invest it. Stocks, businesses, real estate, assets that produce more money over time. Instead of creating monthly payments, they create monthly income. And here's the secret banks hope most people never learn. The less debt you have, the more control you have, the larger your savings, the more options you have, the more assets you own, the less dependent you become on borrowing. Financial freedom isn't about earning the most money. It's about needing the least debt. That's why wealthy people focus on ownership. Ownership of businesses, ownership of investments, ownership of assets. Because ownership creates freedom. Debt creates obligations. And over time, those two paths lead to very different lives. So does the financial system want you to stay broke? Not exactly. But it does make more money when people stay dependent on borrowing. That's simply how the system is designed, which means your goal shouldn't be to become the best borrower. Your goal should be to become the owner, because borrowers make banks rich, owners build wealth, and understanding that difference could change your financial future forever.